the former Kansas City Fed President, Esther George. Esther, welcome to the program. It's so wonderful to hear from you once again. How difficult is life about to get at the Federal Reserve?
Well, it's never an easy path when you get to a time like this. But remember, Jonathan, this institution was by design anticipating that there would be political influences on it. And so a lot of safeguards were put around it to allow the individuals that sit around that table to really maintain their focus on the American public and the mandate that was given to it by Congress.
There is a confusion, though, Esther, given the fact that a lot of the potential proposals would have a fundamental effect on the trajectory of the economy, and that's certainly what the market seemed to be responding to. Do you think, if you were on the Fed, you'd be rethinking just how much further the Fed can cut?
Well, there's no question, Lisa, that you have to take into account fiscal policies and the impact they can have on the economy. And of course, when you're making a forecast, you have to be thinking about what are the risks around that forecast. Whatever baseline you set, you have to be thinking about what lies ahead in terms of setting a path. And I thought yesterday, the chairman was pretty clear that he wasn't going to offer any forward guidance about what comes next. And I think that's really the right way to handle it at this stage.
At this stage, December isn't going to be so easy because they do have to release a new statement of economic projections. I'm sure that you are very glad that you don't have to offer up yours. How do they signal a potential scenario analysis around something that the market is actively considering and responding to?
So I think where we will see that, certainly you could see it play out in the median assessment of those 19 forecasts. But you'll also see it in the statement where this committee will talk about the balance of risk, and they will talk about their own assessment of what the path ahead might look like. Today, they're relying on what they know, which is we have the economy that's handed to us. We are saying risks are roughly in balance. You heard the chairman say several times what the trade-offs are between going too fast versus too slow. And so it will be a while before they get any clarity on what steps will be taken in Congress, in the administration, that will begin to bend the curve of those forecasts.
Esther, can we rewind and play the tape back? Because you've lived this. You lived the tax cuts in 17 and you lived the trade war in 18. And we're asking the same questions of people now that we were asking at the back end of 16 when President Trump was elected to his first term. Could you share with our audience your experience in at that time, how long things took to really start to consider what was happening on the other side of Washington?
So there's the real challenge for the committee when you are watching how fiscal policy might play out. So you can see today, for example, if you're thinking about tax cuts as we were back in 2017, at what point do those feed through the economy? When do you feel their full impact? And importantly, what else is going on that is going to counter whatever you might estimate those effects to be? So it is really a process, as it was when I was at the table, of saying, what are the various scenarios? Where might we see more immediate impact? And then what tends to play out over a longer time frame? Also taking into account other things going on in this very large and complex economy that we're trying to make an assessment of.
Esther, that final point I think is the more important one. The tariffs back in 18 didn't turn out to be as inflationary as some people warned. Is there reason to believe that given the backdrop now, given the current context for things, that it could be more inflationary this time around?
Well, I think by the Fed's own admission, there are upside risks to inflation right now. Inflation has not returned to target, even as it has come down. We are looking at a fiscal situation that is likely to bring upside risk here. We're looking at really global trade and changes and shifts there. So many aspects of what we see playing out today, I think, give good reason to be cautious, to think about those upside risks, even as you watch any given action taken that could be pro-inflationary.
Esther George, thank you for sharing your experience with us this morning. We appreciate it, as always. The former Kansas City Fed President there, Esther George.